Part 1. An era when size was everything. 1972. It was a time when the American dream was measured in feet of chrome and cubic inches under the hood. Imagine a typical suburb of that era. Manicured lawns, white picket fences, and absolute giants sitting in the driveways. Back then, the word SUV didn't exist. The minivan hadn't been invented yet. If you had a large family, status, and a taste for the finer things, your destiny was predetermined. You bought a full-size station wagon, and at the very top of that food chain stood one car, the 1972 Pontiac Grand Safari. This was the golden hour for General Motors. 1972 was a crossroads in automotive history. It was the final year of pure design, before the federal government mandated those massive, clunky 5-mile-per-hour bumpers that would arrive in '73. It was the last year engineers could drop a 7.5-liter engine into a family car without worrying about how many environmentalists would faint. The Grand Safari didn't just drive down the road, it owned it. It was nearly 20 feet long. To put that in perspective, it's longer than a modern-day Cadillac Escalade. Its width forced oncoming traffic to hug the shoulder. Weighing in at nearly 5,000 pounds, this was a literal land yacht, and Pontiac made sure you felt like a captain, not just a driver. The '72 design was the peak of what was called the fuselage look. Smooth, flowing body lines, hidden wipers, and that iconic wood paneling. The die-knock vinyl wrap, mimicking Burma teak, was the Grand Safari's calling card. It gave off a sense of warmth and prestige, turning a massive slab of steel into a rolling summer home. But beneath that soft exterior was an aggressive soul. The split-grille front end, the famous Pontiac beak, looked intimidating in a rear-view mirror. This car didn't ask for the right-of-way. It took it. Part 2. Engineering madness and the clamshell magic. The most famous, and perhaps most insane, feature of this car was its tailgate. Officially, it was called the glide-away tailgate, but the world knew it as the clamshell. In the early '70s, GM engineers decided that traditional swinging or flipping doors were a thing of the past. They created a mechanism that still leaves modern mechanics scratching their heads in disbelief. When you turned the key in the rear fender, a mechanical symphony began. A high-torque electric motor pulled the rear glass upward, disappearing into the roof lining. Simultaneously, the lower section, the heavy metal tailgate itself, retracted downward, sliding into a cavity beneath the cargo floor. In seconds, the entire rear of the car simply vanished. It was incredibly practical. You could walk right up to the bumper to load groceries without a door hitting your knees. You could even drive with the glass up to get a breeze, though the exhaust fumes usually made that a bad idea. However, this convenience came at the cost of incredible complexity. The system relied on a network of cables, pulleys, heavy counterweights, and multiple motors. This setup took up so much space that engineers had to completely redesign the rear suspension and fuel system. The gas tank on a Grand Safari isn't at the back. It's tucked away mid-ship, under the seats. Unfortunately, these clamshells had a habit of jamming. If dirt or salt got into the tracks, the gate could die forever, turning your trunk into an impenetrable fortress. Today, finding a Grand Safari with a perfectly functioning original clamshell is like winning the lottery. But for those who saw it in action, it was pure Hollywood magic, a symbol of an era when engineers weren't afraid to take massive risks for a grand gesture. Part 3. The Heart of the Beast. The legendary 455 V8. Now, let's look under that vast hood, a piece of sheet metal so large you could practically land a small helicopter on it. Pulsing beneath is the heart of a monster, the Pontiac 455 V8. 7.5 liters of displacement. In 1972, due to new emission standards and the transition to unleaded fuel, the official horsepower dropped to around 250. But don't let those numbers fool you. The headline for this engine wasn't horsepower, it was torque. We're talking over 375 pound-feet, available almost right off idle. You didn't need to rev this engine to the moon. It operated with a quiet, confident, low-frequency rumble that you felt in your chest. On the highway, the Grand Safari moved like a freight train. It didn't matter if you were alone or if you had 9 people on board while towing a boat. The pull was relentless. The turbo-hydromatic 400 transmission was the perfect partner for this giant. This 3-speed automatic was so smooth that you could only track the gear changes by watching the needle on the speedometer. The suspension was tuned for maximum isolation. Coil springs at all 4 corners turned rough pavement into glass. Of course, in the corners, the car handled like an ocean liner in a storm. It leaned, it bobbed, and it changed direction with great deliberation. But the Grand Safari wasn't built for canyon carving. It was built for the endless, straight American interstate, where you could engage the cruise control and float for hours without a hint of fatigue. Fuel economy? In 1972, nobody wanted to talk about it. With an average appetite of 8 to 10 miles per gallon, the Grand Safari required a deep pocket and a frequent relationship with the local gas station. But that was the price of freedom. The freedom to move an entire family in a level of luxury that seems decadent today. Part 4. Inside the Luxury Ark. The interior of the 72 Grand Safari is a masterclass in vintage comfort. When you open those heavy doors, you're greeted by the smell of old-school vinyl, thick carpets, and nostalgia. There are no bucket seats here, only massive plush benches. The front seat, with its wide fold-down armrest, could easily fit 3 adults in total comfort. The upholstery, made of Pontiac's signature Morocide vinyl, was so soft and durable that many owners mistook it for genuine leather. The dashboard was angled toward the driver in a cockpit style. Pontiac always marketed itself as the brand for people who enjoyed the act of driving. The massive steering wheel could be turned with a single finger thanks to the over-boosted power steering. The options list was endless, from automatic climate control to an AM/FM stereo with a built-in 8-track player. But the real magic happened behind the driver. The Grand Safari was often ordered in the 9-passenger configuration. Unlike its competitors at Ford, who made kids sit sideways in the trunk, Pontiac's third row faced forward. It was a strategic move. It felt like a private world back there. It had its own armrests, its own window cranks, and even its own ashtrays, because, in the 70s, they put ashtrays everywhere. It was a family ark, designed to bring people together over long distances. In 1972, buying this car was a promise of sunny days, long roads, and happy memories. Part 5. The Sunset of the Titans. Sadly, the reign of these giants was short-lived. By 1973, the world changed forever. The oil crisis hit, gas prices skyrocketed, and suddenly, owning a 7-liter wagon was seen as madness. People began trading them in for compact Japanese imports, and government regulations on safety and emissions turned the 72 Grand Safari into an instant dinosaur. Many of these cars met a tragic end. Because they were so heavy and incredibly strong, they became the preferred choice for demolition derbies. Thousands of magnificent wagons were smashed into scrap metal for a few minutes of grandstand entertainment. Those that survived often rotted away in barns or damp backyards, forgotten and unloved. But today, the tide has turned. The 1972 Pontiac Grand Safari 455 has become an icon. Collectors around the world hunt for survivors, willing to pay premium prices for that feeling of unlimited power and space. Restoring one today is a labor of love. Body panels are impossible to find. The tailgate mechanisms require the hands of a watchmaker, and the fuel bill still scares the neighbors. But when you see one on the road, when you hear that low, confident growl of the 455 V8, you realize why it matters. This isn't just a car. It's a monument to an era when we weren't afraid to dream big. It reminds us of a time when the road wasn't just a way to get from A to B, it was the destination itself. And as long as these land yachts continue to sail the highways, the spirit of the great American road trip will never truly die.